Hi, everybody. Welcome to Boulton from Boulton. This is the show where my brother Josh and I set each other up for lively hockey talk and banter. We are, of course, in our 2020 Stanley Cup playoff series. And today we're getting a special show out there. It's the first round predictions. So we did say at the end of last show, we got to go off and watch the Columbus-Toronto game. And we went off and got comfortable and everything. And then we decided that we didn't really have the time to get this out before the first round starts. So we said, let's just fire it back up, get back in here and do it. So we do not know the end result of the Columbus-Toronto game as of now. We won't tell you how far into it we are and what we know and don't know. Just, I don't know who's going to win. So we're going to have to consider it that much when we pit that team against Tampa. So we know all the other matchups, and we know almost that matchup. So we're going to go ahead with it. We're just going to run through. The first thing we'll do, though, is, well, Josh, why don't you tell us what you do annually for my entertainment?
For your, it's funny because you supplied me with the board. For your entertainment and for the entertainment of all, it's a pretty popular video, is he got me this magnetic playoff bracket board. And it has a little magnet with the logos of all the NHL teams. And it even has like the divisions in it and everything. So you put the teams in order of where they are in their divisions, and then I move them over to where they are in their playoff bracket. And then I pick the entire playoffs. Before they even start, I'll go through the entire bracket and pick all the way to the Stanley Cup winner. And I make this little video where I show myself sliding the pegs over. So it's kind of dramatic. You can see my picks real time as they go. And the problem is, my favorite part is, of course, I got that board before Vegas was in the league. So I used to substitute them for the Montreal Canadiens. I used to use the Montreal Canadiens to represent Vegas because they never make the playoffs anyway. But now I can't do that because they're in. So I was going to use the Pittsburgh Penguins, but I remembered my daughter. She was a little bit worried that I didn't have some of the teams. So she made me, my daughter Rory, she took a magnet off of one of her like Barbie things, and she wrote on loose leaf, cut out a little label, Vegas Golden Knights, and taped it to the magnet. So I used that for Vegas.
Wow, Rory made a Vegas magnet for you. Perfect. So yeah. I do recall that. I think my wife and I were home in Canada for Christmas. Maybe it was 2014, one of those, something around there. And we were just out and we saw this thing and we said, that is for Josh. And we had to get it for him. And then it's the gift that keeps on giving to us, because every year I get this video sent to me and I was like, oh, it's Josh's video. And we sit down and watch this thing. It's very entertaining. Now, he's made one for this year and he's gone through, as you said, you went all the way to the final as well, right? Just like you normally do. Right?
Yes.
So today's show is about first round predictions. That's as far as we're going to talk about. But on his video, you'll get the whole thing. And we are going to go and bring that to you right now. And there you have it. So if you're listening on audio, you won't have that video, obviously. You can go see the video on YouTube. I'll put links in the show notes. So go right down, click on it, and have a good time seeing those picks. Now let's talk them out a little bit, Josh, and first round only, and then that'll be it today. So we'll start in the West. We've got Vegas #1 against Chicago #8. Who have you got in that one? I mean, we just saw the video, but you tell us a little bit about it.
I'm a little sore at Chicago but I think they did everything they needed to do. They're a team, like I said, that can remember how to win. I'm going with Chicago.
All right, he's going with Chicago. I'm gonna play contra right here, right away. I've got Vegas picked. I just, the Vegas Knights, they just have their thing going, and I know Chicago's got something happening right now. They're feeling really good about themselves. These playing rounds, though, I feel like there was a whole different feel in the whole thing, and I don't know. It's really coming in. It's like we're back in the playoffs. Vegas is there. They know what they're doing. I'm just feeling it. Again, I've got all these picks, by the way, I'll say right now, and I've just kind of made them really quickly thinking about them. So we'll see what comes back to bite me. But I'm kind of surprised at all the picks I've made myself in some of them. But I'm going Vegas, so we're counter on that one, Josh. We'll see how it turns out. But, Chicago is riding high and looking dangerous. What about Colorado and Arizona? Colorado 2, Arizona 7.
I think if you flip those numbers around, that'll be the score in most of the games. Arizona had no business beating Nashville. They were outshot 150-2, I think, on average for the series. And their goaltender kept them in that. It was one of those ones, the opposite of what we talked about with Montreal. The only reason Arizona is in this series is because of their goalie, and he's going to get blown away, and they're going to be done. Colorado, no doubt.
Okay. Well, we also cannot discount their fear of Rick Tocchet contributing to their inability to lose. They just were not going to lose. Now, as scary as he is, I'm going to have to join you in choosing Colorado. I don't feel as strongly as how they had no business winning, and fair enough. But I just think Colorado, of course, as I mentioned on the last show, I'm hoping for Colorado, which is, you get that little extra hope in there that adds to your pick, what you believe. But I also have no reason to not expect Colorado to win. They are a beast machine. They were a second seed in the West. It's not an accident. It wasn't one of these ones where they're reseeded in the wrong way. They are one of the top teams in the league, and I don't see how the Coyotes are going to really beat that beast. So there you go. What about, maybe I'll start on the last two, and then we'll flip for the next one too. So Dallas and Calgary. I've got Calgary. Now I took, Winnipeg in the first one against them, right? And then I was like, but Calgary's impressed me. So they look strong. They just look like playoff ready, playoff hungry. Now I know I said about the playing round just a minute ago, but I think that they're just feeling good about themselves at the moment, feeling strong. And Dallas, I could say a lot of similar things about them, but I don't know, man. I just I'm taking Calgary. Taking Calgary. I don't know. You go. You tell me. Maybe I'll come back with something.
When Dallas is feeling hot, then they're on. But when they go cold, they get so cold that it's like they just disappear. But I feel like they're going to be hot right now. I feel like Calgary. Yeah, they look playoff ready. They feel good about themselves, but they've felt good about themselves for a number of years, and it hasn't really translated to much. I actually, before the playoffs started, picked them in my minds to go a little further, but the way the bracket worked out and the seeding, I thought maybe they'd have a little better chance against St. Louis or whatever, but at the last minute, Dallas came back and won that game today. I just feel Dallas is not a good matchup for them right here in this particular moment.
Mm-hmm. So Dallas is hot right now, and then they're gonna douse the Flames. Am I allowed to say one of those?
Oh yes, that's what we're all about.
I'm glad I didn't hear anybody say the Price is Right the last series.
Every
right? But
time.
anyway, but so Dallas is the hotter team, hotter than the Flames. Okay, fair enough. So we got Dallas, and I don't have much to counter that, to be honest. I love Dallas in a way. Actually, I kind of like them a lot. So 4 St. Louis, 5 Vancouver. I'm going Canada again. Canada. Vancouver's taking it. I told you how I feel about Pettersson, and they've got a lot of strong guys around them. I think this team is so good. Now, St. Louis, let me say right now, they are this defending Stanley Cup champs. They were top in the West most of the season. Were they first when they started the reseeding?
Well, as a matter of fact, they were. Fun fact, both of the number 1 seeds going into this play-in are now the number 4 seeds, both the East and the West.
I am quite aware that Boston's down, and I definitely knew they were top. They were top in the whole league. Wow. So
Yeah.
it is very curious. So there you go. Reseeding. Who cares? Well, St. Louis and Boston fans care a little bit. But I mean, I don't know, man. Would you, if you're St. Louis, would you take a Chicago matchup or a Vancouver? I don't know. Boston's going to get Carolina now instead of Montreal uh, being the fourth. So that's a little bit of maybe a worse break for them, if I may say. But anyway, we'll see. But Vancouver, I'm taking. So there's nothing to say against St. Louis. They're one of the strongest teams. I mean, why would you bet against them? Well, just Vancouver. It's their time. Their time to step up. St. Louis kind of came out of nowhere and did it last year. Why can't somebody else go and do it this time? Not necessarily go to the ride to the cup, but sticking with the Canadian teams in the West, Vancouver, go.
I'm pretty excited about Vancouver now. Like, I picked them, but I just picked them because I thought, well, whatever, I got to pick somebody. I think they're beating the Jets, but where are they going to go after that? Who knows? But I feel like they're going to take a step on St. Louis. They're going to ride that wave. And St. Louis is a little bit trying to figure themselves out right now. I think Vancouver's a hungry team that's going to pounce on that.
Okay. There you go. So we're both on the Vancouver train. All right. We're going to move over to the East, everybody. Let's do the East. We've got number 1, Philly versus 8, Montreal. Josh, what did your video tell us? And you tell us more about it.
Philadelphia is just, like I said in the last episode, there's just something about them. And I mean, I don't want to hope for them. I feel like I'm going to be irritated watching them win, but I feel like they're going to win. And I think that's partly why they're going to win, because they're just so irritating, and it's distracting, and they're hard to play against.
Mm-hmm. Hey, well, I'm feeling Philadelphia too. I've got them picked. No diss in Montreal once again, but this time, I said the Penguins were stronger and could have beat them, but they played fearfully. I feel like Philadelphia's playing with no fear right now. They're feeling confident. They're coming in and going to take it. They're not going to be scared to shoot on Carey. Oh, it's Carey Price. Don't shoot the puck, right? Because then we'll never get it back. It's like shoot the puck. Something's going to happen. They're going to get dirty in front of the net. Penn's tried that a little bit. Hornquist got in there a little bit too little, too late. They didn't really get in his kitchen. Philadelphia is going to be in everybody's kitchen. They're just going to overwhelm them and just take it to them as a stronger team ought to. Montreal will put up their good fight. I mean, they're coming off flying high right now, and they have Carey Price. But this is a full series now. Philadelphia has it at the back of their mind to give them a little less stress about any early loss or anything, and they're just going to be playing fearless and just win that series. So Philly is getting through. The Montreal ride is over. 2, Tampa Bay against Toronto or Columbus, because the thing is happening now and is not over yet. So what do you got? Oh, yeah. What are you first on this one again?
I have Toronto or Columbus.
All right.
Whoever gets in of those two is going to beat Tampa.
Okay. Because you're not feeling Tampa.
I'm not feeling Tampa, and I'm feeling whoever comes out of that series is just going to be like, oh, if we can survive this, we can survive anything. And Tampa isn't overly terrific right now. I feel like it's only going to take one game for them to doubt themselves again, and they will try and rally, but I don't think they're going to figure it out. They could probably figure it out against a team that just came off of a little bit of an easier play-in series, but I think whoever comes out of this game 5 is going to be just like a believer. They're going to all of a sudden believe. And once you get that little bit of confidence, that little bit of swagger, it's hard to knock it out of you.
It's all about swagger. I mean, it really is. I mean, with the parity in the league, there is something about being better overall, but other things being equal, it's about the swagger at this time of year. Your goalie has to feel it. Everybody has to feel it. You have to play. I'm saying it too often, but you have to play fearless, because you can't be scared to make mistakes. You have to be vigilant to not make mistakes and pay attention to the details and be there, but not scared to make them. And if you do make them, everybody else has that vibe where it's just like, that's cool. We'll just keep going. Right. So, but if you don't have that, it's like one mistake and everybody's kind of like, oh, I feel kind of bad for him, or you're actually a little bit upset and the guy feels. It's just a whole wrong thing. So if you come out with swagger, you got it. However, Tampa Bay Lightning are going to beat whoever comes out of this game today. Because Tampa, and now I understand what you mean. That if they get doubting themselves, anybody can beat anybody. So I won't argue that. But just Tampa is so, like, they're awesome, man. And I don't think that these other two teams are, as strong as Tampa Bay Lightning. I think that they were disappointed the other time when they were the strongest one and got swept. I think now, just being not so hyped up, they're just gonna maybe take that in and give them a little bit of less pressure about it and just enjoy. I mentioned, it's funny, we talked about the Hart Trophy on another show, and we were talking about Draisaitl, and I said, yeah, it's cool, but you have these guys, they come up in just one season, all of a sudden they're the best player in the world you're talking about. Yeah, there's somebody who had the best season, but like Kucherov's one of those guys. He had this Hart Trophy season, and you almost be like, this guy's the best guy in the world ever. Well, where is he, like, since then? Like, I was scared of him every time he came near, right? So he's still really good, but he's not like in the conversation of best in the world anymore. And that just happens. So that's what I'm saying about this Draisaitl stuff. Let's calm down and wait to see who floats around the top forever. And I still think Draisaitl can be that guy, like a kind of Evgeny Malkin type top player, and one of the top players in the world guy. But that's what I think of that when I think of Kucherov right now. He's not scaring me like he used to. Every time he got near somebody, I'd be like, that's in. He was so dominant, right? 128 points or whatever he had.
Yeah.
But he is on this team. Stammer's on, Hedman, Vasilevsky. He's one of these goalies I really like. He plays confident. He battles. He's the kind of guy you want there. This team, Leafs Nation, if you're in, look out. Columbus, they know how to beat these teams. They swept Tampa. They might have that in their pocket, but they're looking a little more vulnerable now. So if they do happen to squeak by the Leafs today, then they're not getting by Tampa. So I know I'm supposed to be first now. I just went on for so long. It's Washington seed 3 versus New York Islanders 6. I didn't have much time to do this, but I, like your thing, I'd move the thing like that. And then I went Washington Capitals. I've got another top seed. I'm picking them. Caps, man. The Islanders, as I said before, it's like, how do they win? Well, how do you beat them? It's like they just don't lose, and then therefore they win. But it's I don't know. I think it's the Caps' turn to kind of have another crack at this, to make it a little further and give themselves another chance at seeing if they can get another cup. They're as strong as anyone. I mean, this era is not over at all. Washington is hugely strong. I don't see how the Islanders are going to really take that over again, because nobody's getting fooled this time.
Well, I don't think the Islanders have to fool anybody. I think they should be in that conversation of the top seeds right now. Like, Washington is so good and so, like, hard to play against. They have a lot of great players, but who doesn't? Like we said earlier, every team has those guys, right? So I think Washington is another kind of hot and cold team. There's some teams that you just like, whatever, like Chicago. Like I said, even when they're down, like on a losing streak, they just figure it out and they find themselves for one game or whatever. So, but that game can happen anytime. And for Washington, I think they're like one of those teams that can sort of be self-destructive at times. And I'm hoping that if the Islanders stay consistent, I think like on any given day, Washington at their best would kind of destroy a team like the Islanders on their best. I kind of think that. It's not like they're that different of teams. I just think Washington is that good. But I think Washington can be up and down so much, and the Islanders generally stay like this. And I'm hoping that there'll be more down. I'm not hoping for Washington. I just believe that there'll be more downtime in this series. And for the Islanders, if they stay flat enough and can poke a hole or two in it when they get their moments, I think they might pull off a big little upset here.
All right, so clearly Josh has the Islanders, and I'm sticking with Washington. We've got now Boston number 4, Carolina number 5, and I am riding the top seed once again. East, I got all the top seeds. Boston Bruins were the top team in the league by far, and they still are the top team in the league. They're on a 3-game whatever, and this reseeding is all not even. It doesn't feel like playoffs. It doesn't feel like the regular season. It feels weird. They're on the layoff. Whatever. I think they're gonna reset, come in. It's the playoffs. They're starting. They know what they're doing. They've been here before, and they happen to be the best team this year. So now Carolina already is very strong. Like I saw them in that first round, and I was very impressed with them. And I thought, wow, okay, Carolina's the real deal. They're feeling good about themselves too. And it is true that some of these teams, like you got young Sebastian Aho, all of a sudden they just make a little bit of a push. But I don't know if it's time for Boston to go out yet on, in this season. I think they're going to have to, just like I said with Washington, they're going to poke their head in a little further and see if they might have a chance at another cup here. So I don't think they're going out like that in the first round. Carolina's strong, but they could have hoped for a different matchup. What do you got, Josh?
I feel like it's a lot of the end of kind of, you had Boston coming up. Washington was good for a lot of years. They came up, they got their cup. Pittsburgh got their 2 cups. Time for a new pony here. Carolina. They went on quite a run last year. They had a really fun regular season the year before. They got a lot of up and coming talent. I don't see any reason why it's not time for a changing of the guard. Now they did have their cup in 2006, but it's a completely different atmosphere, a completely different team. They've gone down into their spiral. Now they're back up, and it's not like it's their first year and they're just like, ooh, what's happening? Are they really good? Is this for real? They're for real, man. They're for real. Now, I'm not saying that Boston can't just as easily win this series and then go ahead and win the cup. I'm not saying that at all. Like, they're so good. But, everyone's so good. Again, it's just one of those things where I think that some of these they've been around, they know what they're doing, they can handle themselves in situations. But I think almost the not knowing, the let's just play with some reckless abandon and see what happens. Like we keep saying it. I think these fun, young, energetic teams are just all of a sudden realizing, you know what? Hey, we belong here. We belong in the NHL. We can compete on any given night, and we're doing it. And I think Carolina, they're going to shine. It's going to be a lot of fun. I enjoy this team. I enjoy what they're about. I enjoy their personality, and I want to see it keep going.
I can feel that so much because I do feel I like Carolina. I feel how good they are. I think I just said that too. I'm just not ready to say that. Again, we talked about it. They're so good. Everybody's so good. So that's why it's really hard to make these picks even more than it ever used to be. I don't really, stand by my picks like so hard because I've been deep into everything and I've been interviewing the players and the coaches and I know how they're feeling about themselves and I'm really in there. So therefore I know. And then I could probably get a pulse on who I expect to win. So, but at the end of the day, I still think it's Boston. I will say something that might set people aflame before we sign off here about Chara recently. The one thing I do have a problem with Boston is Chara. For a while, people could say, oh, he's a little slow, but he's and all that, but he's still effective because he's got the big reach and all this stuff. That was true for a while. But I'm really joining that team now where I just saw him so much and he was just like, guy goes around him and it took him like so long to turn around. The guy was gone. There was no catching him. And it used to be that he turned around quick enough, like slow, but quick enough that at least he could still reach out and get him with the stick because the guy was, 10 meters away and he still was able to reach him. But he was too slow even to make that gap. Like I was just like, hopefully you don't have to depend on him too much, right? Depend on some other guys. But I still think they're strong as a team. They are the best team in the league, including Chara is a part of that. Just hopefully don't depend on it to be too big a part of it. Or your Carolina pick is going through and making a run. So do you have anything else to say on these playoff picks before we sign off here?
No, I do stand by my picks. I'm all in.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't say I don't stand by them. This is my pick. But that's it. Yeah, I got you. So there we have it, everybody. Our picks are up. They are there. I'm all in on them. And tell us what you think. Are you on Team Josh, Team Matt, or do you want to sample a bit of both? Maybe you have different opinions. Maybe you have different reasons. Let us know. What teams are you going for? Who's getting through? What players are going to shine and which ones are going to bust? Anything at all. And let us know what you want us to talk about in general. Anything that you see in the playoffs, you're like, can you tell me what you think about that? Because we just love to get more interactive that way. I want to see people going off on the chat and really having fun hanging out together during these playoffs. So let's get to them. It is on, like we talked about in our last show about the playoffs. It's unequivocal now. The playoffs are on. It's awesome. Let's go enjoy. We'll see you guys next time. Now we've got a little cameo here. Eva was jumping on the door, trying to open the door up, but these doors handles too heavy for her. So she's crying because her daddy's in here, doing some work here, and she's out there. I don't know what's mom doing? Is she not there? I don't know. But Eva is here wanted to share what she thinks about it. So I got Eva here. Why don't I have her in for the last pick? Would you object to that?
No. Let's see what she comes up with. She'll be like the TSN monkey.